The new nanny at home didn't care that I was suffering from morning sickness and insisted on eating hot pot. I looked at the pot of red soup and put down my chopsticks with a cold expression. The nanny looked aggrieved. My son saw this and started shouting loudly, "I want to eat hot pot. I don't want a mother like you. I want Wendy to be my mother." I looked at the nanny in front of me, wearing a low-cut top and with her makeup done up nicely. So she wanted to be the mistress of the house. Fine, I'll see how this family manages without me, their money bag. I smelled the spicy aroma of red hot pot soup and felt a wave of acid rise in my stomach. Wendy, the new nanny, kept bringing dishes to the table. I frowned and put down my chopsticks. Didn't I tell you not to eat hot pot? The smell makes me want to throw up. Wendy looked aggrieved. "Mrs., I looked it up online, and it says that spicy hot pot is good for the baby in the womb. Besides, Anne's dad want to eat it too." After I said that, Wendy was so aggrieved that she started crying. Those who didn't know would think I was a cruel person for making things so difficult for the maid. Seeing this, my husband quickly tried to smooth things over. "It's okay, I have a delicate palate and can't eat spicy food. Take it away." Wendy felt even more wronged, tears streaming down her face as she sobbed uncontrollably. Her husband felt helpless. "Wendy, go rest. I'll make some porridge for everyone." As soon as my son saw it, he started yelling, "I want hot pot. I don't want a mom like you. I want Wendy to be my mom." I immediately frowned and snapped, "Say that again." And pushed me hard, ran to Wendy's side, and threw herself into her arms. She kept shouting, "Why does mom always hate me so much? It's just hot pot. Wendy, and wants you to be her mom." Wendy held Anne in her arms and cried bitterly. "Mrs., the child is young and doesn't know any better. Don't be angry with him, and please don't hit him." Hearing this, I was so angry that I threw down my chopsticks. "What do you mean by that? And is my own son. How could I hit or scold him?" She looked as if she had been greatly frightened, quickly put down and stood up, her eyes red, and began to tidy up the table while sobbing. "I'm sorry, Mrs. I'll clean up these dishes right now. Please don't be angry. It's all my fault." The early stages of pregnancy are already difficult to endure, and I had severe morning sickness, unable to tolerate even the slightest hint of a strong smell. Wendy knew this, yet she deliberately prepared hot pot. My son was even more inconsiderate, unable to understand the hardships I went through while carrying him, and instead accused me of being a nagging mother. Looking at Wendy's exquisite makeup and her clothes that were cut so low at the neckline they almost reached her belly button, I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I got up and rushed to the bathroom, vomiting violently until I was dizzy. After the dizziness subsided, my head was ringing, and I heard Anne's laughter mixed with the playful giggles of Wendy and her friends. After my mother-in-law finished dancing, she came back and saw me vomiting in the bathroom again. She stood at the door and sneered, "I don't know what kind of karma you've created. You're so precious with your pregnancy, as if you're the only person who's ever given birth." Another wave of acid rose in my throat, and I almost collapsed on the floor. My husband came in with a glass of water, gently patted me on the back, and helped me breathe. "Jane, drink some water to calm down." The mother-in-law stood at the door with her hands on her hips, looking impatient. "Son, come out quickly. Don't let her bad luck rub off on you. What kind of wife is so dramatic? She's just pregnant and she's been throwing up every day. Didn't you say you were going to make porridge? You won't even let us eat the hot pot you made. You're going to starve us to death." My husband looked helpless. Annoyed by her yelling, I struggled to get up, pushed my husband out, locked the door, and collapsed on the cold floor, staring blankly. After a long time, I finally got up, holding my waist, and walked out. I quietly walked to the kitchen door, just about to talk to Wendy, when I heard voices inside. My husband was washing rice, and Wendy picked up an apron, slipped behind him, and stood on tiptoe to tie it around him. The two were standing a little close together, and Wendy's face turned a little red as she whispered, "Mrs. Leo, it's all my fault for making you angry. Leo didn't feel that anything was wrong, so he smiled and reassured her, "It's okay, don't worry about it." Jane's temper was a little worse when she was pregnant. I was stunned. It seemed like the whole family thought it was my fault, that I had a bad temper. My blood rushed to my head and my eyes reddened. Wendy was practically glued to Leo, rubbing her ample bosom against his arm. She said in a coquettish tone, "I'm so jealous of Mrs. Shao. She married into such a good family, with a considerate husband and an adorable son. If only I could be as lucky as her. Mrs. Leo, you're the perfect man. Mrs. Sometimes you're a little too much." I sneered to myself. The day Wendy came to apply for the nanny job, Leo had just brought home a sports car, which was my anniversary gift to him. Wendy, who had been responding to questions listlessly, perked up immediately when she saw the sports car pull into the yard. When she saw Leo get out of the car, her eyes nearly popped out of her head. I didn't really like Wendy at first, but she begged me, saying that her mother was sick in the hospital and needed money, and asked me to give her a chance. I took pity on her and agreed. After she got the job, she always hung around Leo and Anne. Our company is quite busy, so I'm not often at home, and I've always given Leo face. Wendy has come to look down on me more and more, only listening to Leo and her mother-in-law. She tries every trick in the book to keep the three of them happy. I didn't think much of it before, but now I finally understand what Wendy was thinking. And Leo seems to be a bit confused as well. Living in the house I bought, driving the car I bought, Leo's attitude is a bit ungrateful, isn't it? I stood at the door for a while, forcing myself to calm down, gathered my things, and went to work. Sitting in my office, I sent Leo a message on WeChat, "When you fire Wendy, I'll come home." Leo didn't reply. Late into the night, after I finished work, I saw Wendy post an update. "Delicious Chongqing hot pot, what a wonderful evening." In the photo, Leo and Wendy are sitting close together, with Anne sitting in her lap and her mother-in-law looking down at her plate. Everyone looks happy, and it seems like they are enjoying their meal and acting like a real family. I gave it a thumbs up. Leo called back immediately, his voice low, "Jane, why aren't you back yet?" I replied coldly, "Wendy, if you don't pack your things and get out by midnight tonight, we're getting a divorce tomorrow." Leo stammered for a while, then finally grunted and told me to go home early. I turned off my phone, feeling exhausted, and prepared to rest for a while. But just as I lay down, Wendy suddenly showed up at the office with my son and started crying and fussing with me. And threw herself on top of me and kept punching me. "You're a bad mom. Wendy was so nice, why did you make her leave? I'll beat up the bad mom. Wendy said it was your fault she lost her job. You're a bad mom." I gritted my teeth and dragged the little white-eyed wolf away, glaring coldly at Leo and asking, "What did you say to him?" Leo was a bit embarrassed and instead blamed me, "You're just as bad. Wendy only made a small mistake. What's the big deal? Why do you have to fire her?" I laughed in exasperation. As soon as Wendy saw Leo speaking up for her, she suddenly knelt down in front of me, "Mrs., I know I'm not very articulate, and you've never liked me. But I'm not as fortunate as you to have found such a wonderful husband like Mr. Leo. I have to work. Please forgive me. My mother is waiting for my salary to pay the hospital fees. I beg you, Mrs." She knelt down again and tugged at Leo's pant leg. "Leo, I beg you to plead for me. You are the head of the family, Mrs. will definitely listen to you." Leo had been looking down, but now he looked up at me and stammered, "Jane, let's just forget it. Anne likes her, and it's not easy to find another nanny." There were several employees working overtime outside, and they all looked over, looking like they were watching a spectacle. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Wendy started bowing her head to me, her voice loud, "I'm bowing to you to admit my mistake. Please let me off, Mrs." My son, Sue-Ann, stood in front of me, crying his heart out. Anger welled up inside me, but I sat down slowly, as if I had been persuaded. "All right, since Anne likes you, you can stay." Wendy was instantly delighted. "I'll be away on a business trip for half a month. Take good care of the house during that time. I turned to Leo and instructed him. Before Leo could say anything, Wendy excitedly interjected, "Sure, Mrs. I'll take good care of them, so don't worry." I made an excuse that I had to get up early the next day to catch a flight and that it would be more convenient for me to stay at the company, so I sent the three of them home together. Leo walked to the door and said hesitantly, "Jane, it's my mom's birthday in 2 weeks. Remember to come back in time." I nodded to show that I understood. Behind him, Wendy's face flashed with a strange expression, and she followed Leo and his father out the door. As I watched them leave the company, I sent a message to my lawyer, "Help me draft a divorce agreement. Leo will leave with nothing." During the 2 weeks I was away on business, Wendy didn't cause any trouble and was very quiet, sending me daily messages to report on Anne's studies. Leo also checked in on her every day, taking care of her every need. But was everything really peaceful at home? I turned on the home surveillance camera. I bought this house and oversaw the entire renovation. Leo's mother used to come to our house and always steal my clothes and jewelry. To prevent things from going missing, I installed several pinhole cameras in the ceiling and didn't tell anyone. I decided to check what my family was up to. As soon as I turned on the monitor, an indescribable sound came through. In the bedroom, Leo and Wendy were entangled. I felt nauseous. In the heat of the moment, Wendy grabbed Leo's hair and asked, "Brother, when are you finally going to marry me? I want to be with you openly and honestly." Leo hugged her and kissed her. "Don't rush, baby. Just wait until I figure out how to get her to have an abortion, then I'll marry you. After all, she's still pregnant, so the court won't grant a divorce." I suddenly froze. A flash of hatred crossed Wendy's eyes. Divorce is too easy for her. I hate her so much. The next second, Leo's words sent me into a deep freeze. Leo pinched Wendy's cheek. "Since my sweetheart is unhappy, I'll think of a solution." How about giving her some medicine and taking a short video of her?" He smiled, his tone light. "With this video, you can threaten her. If you tell her to go east, she won't dare to go west. You can do whatever you want with her, baby." Wendy playfully took control. This excited Leo, who panted, "Baby, then we'll get married and have her be our nanny." I sneered at their affection. Leo's plan is not just to get a divorce, he probably wants to divide my property. But I can't tell Wendy that, because she has always believed that Leo is the rich one and I just married him because I was lucky. This really put Leo in a difficult position. He had to appease Wendy and then rack his brains to come up with a plan for me. My assistant walked in and whispered in my ear, "Jane, Wendy contacted me this morning and asked to advance her salary by 100,000 yuan. Did you give it to her?" The assistant was very quick-witted and had already noticed that something was wrong between Leo, Wendy and me. "Not yet. I told her that the finance department was closed today, but she seemed to need it urgently and said she must have it tomorrow." I turned off the surveillance camera with a cold expression. "Well done, you don't need to give it to me yet." I fell into deep thought. Tomorrow was Leo's mother's birthday. Could it be that Wendy was in a hurry to get money to buy a gift to please her? On my birthday, I flew back for 5 hours. When I entered the house, it was already filled with Leo's relatives. Everyone was talking loudly, almost loud enough to blow the roof off. When she saw me come in, Leo's aunt looked at me with narrowed eyes and said harshly, "It's your mother's birthday today, and you're just coming back now?" Seeing that I looked upset, Leo hurried out to support me and said, "Auntie, Jane was busy with work, and she rushed back as soon as she could." Leo's aunt snorted coldly. "Humph, a woman who neglects her husband and children every day and exposes herself in public, what kind of life can she possibly have? I'm not saying this to you, but it's your mother's birthday today, and you came back empty-handed?" I smiled good-naturedly, which was rare for me. "Auntie, I bought a gift for Mom. Let's give it to her after dinner. It's a big present." Upon hearing this, Leo's mother's face lit up with joy, and she began to boast to her relatives beside her, "Let me tell you, my son is doing very well now. He is the president of the largest company in the city. There are plenty of people who want to marry my son." Jane didn't know any better at first, but now I've taught her a thing or two, and look how well she's turned out. I didn't call her out on it, because Leo is just my assistant. Everyone around us was fawning over Leo's mother. Wendy wore a simple white dress today, with her hair tied up, looking dignified and modest. She bustled about preparing a large table of dishes, then unwrapped the cake and personally placed a birthday hat on Leo's mother's head. She respectfully squatted down beside Leo's mother and took out a beautifully wrapped gift box. "Auntie, we've gotten along well these past few months, so I specially prepared a gift for your birthday." Leo's mother smiled from ear to ear, took the box, opened it, and saw a heavy gold bracelet. Seeing the envious glances from her relatives, Leo's mother was full of pride. Leo's aunt couldn't sit still. She grabbed Wendy's hand and asked, "How old are you? Are you married? I have a son who doesn't have a girlfriend yet. Maybe I can introduce you to someday." Wendy looked shy, her eyes darting toward Leo from time to time. "Auntie, I have someone I like. I only want to marry him." I lowered my head and pretended not to see, secretly wondering to myself. The assistant hadn't given her advance pay, so where did Wendy get the money to buy the gold bracelet? After a few rounds of drinks, Leo's mom was completely charmed by Wendy. She took her by the hand and introduced her to everyone, saying that Wendy was her goddaughter and was eating candy and playing with her phone. I called out to her, "Anne, why are you eating candy again? Your teeth must hurt." Anne made a face at me and raised her head. "I'm not talking to you, you bitch." My head exploded. "Anne, what did you say?" I rushed over, grabbed his phone, and pulled him by the arm, scolding him. Anne's eyes turned red, and she pouted and started crying. "I don't want you, you bad woman, to be my mom. Dad, will you divorce Mom and marry Wendy?" Wendy rushed over and hugged Anne with a look of pity on her face. "Mrs., you're too strict with Anne. You're never home, and it's like she doesn't have a mother. I'm just being overly kind and caring a bit more about Anne, and you're jealous of our relationship and want to fire me." The room fell silent, and all the relatives looked at Wendy and me with curiosity. I was so angry with Anne that I felt dizzy and my hands were shaking uncontrollably. Haven't I been good to Anne? I carried her for 10 months and raised her myself until she was 3 years old. It wasn't until she was old enough to go to kindergarten that I took over the company again. But none of that could compare to Wendy letting him eat a few more pieces of candy and play on his phone for a few more hours. I had originally planned to fight Leo for custody, but now I realize that such poor genes are not worth keeping. Leo ran out of the kitchen to smooth things over. Okay, Jane didn't mean anything by it, she was just being a little strict." He picked up a glass of wine and handed it to me. "Jane, have a drink and apologize to Wendy and Anne." I pushed her away with a cold stare. "I'm pregnant, I can't drink that." Wendy glanced at my belly with envy. She picked up a drink from beside her and handed it to me with a smile. "Mrs., have this. It's freshly squeezed orange juice." I paused for a moment, thinking of something, then graciously picked up the wine glass. Under their gaze, I drank it all in one gulp. Within seconds, I exclaimed, "I feel a little dizzy, oh no." Leo held me up and smiled at our relatives. "Jane has been feeling dizzy since she got pregnant, so I'm taking her upstairs to rest." He and Wendy helped me upstairs, muttering, "This medicine works so fast." Wendy was worried and asked, "How long will this medicine last?" "She won't wake up in a while, will she?" "Don't worry, it's expensive medicine. She definitely won't wake up tonight." After throwing me on the bed, the two of them went downstairs to see their relatives off. After messing around until past 10 o'clock at night, everyone had left the villa, even Leo, Wendy, and were gone. I lay in bed bored, waiting for a man to push open the door in the dark and rush in. He rushed over to me and pressed himself against me. Smack. I turned on the light. "It's you, cousin." The man in front of me, Zion, had a sly look on his face and was the son that Aunt Leo wanted to introduce to Wendy tonight. In his 30s, he couldn't find a wife, didn't have a job, and spent his days living off his parents. Recently, he even developed a gambling addiction and sold the family home. Zion looked surprised, but Leo told me. How could you? Never mind, it's the same whether you're asleep or awake. Seeing that he was about to charge over again, I stopped him. Cousin, don't be in such a hurry. I have a business deal for you. Once it's done, I'll give you $3 million, enough for you to buy a house. $3 million was enough to make Zion pause and start thinking. Seeing him looking around nervously, I added, my assistant and bodyguard are downstairs. If I call them now, they'll be here in a flash. Zion hesitated, you're really giving me $3 million? I smiled slightly, I'll guarantee it with Sky Company's reputation. The next day, Leo met Zion early in the morning at a coffee shop and asked, how did it go? Did you get it done? Zion grinned mischievously, of course. He held a small USB flash drive in his hand. Seeing that Leo was eager to take it, Zion quickly tucked it away. Bro, this isn't going to be easy. Look at Jane, that woman scratched my face. I can give you the USB drive, but you have to give me some compensation for my trouble. Leo froze, realizing he had been tricked by Zion. Without the video, he wouldn't stand a chance in a divorce lawsuit. He gritted his teeth and asked, how much do you want? Zion held out his hand and made a 5 gesture. 5,000? Sure, I'll transfer it to you right away. Leo agreed readily. Zion shook his head, 500,000. Wendy, who was standing nearby, jumped up, are you trying to rob me? Zion leered at Wendy, who was curvaceous and voluptuous. Or, you can accompany me for the night, and I'll give you the USB drive. Think about it and let me know. Zion stood up and left. Leo and Wendy were left looking dejected. Wendy tentatively said, honey, 50,000 is nothing to you, right? Give him the money, and once you get the video, you can file for divorce. Leo made up an excuse. 50,000 is no big deal, but Jane and I have joint accounts, and she'll know immediately if there's a large withdrawal. I'm afraid it will alert her. He promised Wendy, how about this? You put up 50,000 now, and once we're divorced, you can spend my money however you want. With such wealth within reach, she could soon marry into a wealthy family and become Mrs. So-and-so. Wendy made up her mind and agreed, all right, I'll take the 50,000. I sat upstairs in the coffee shop, watching the two of them conspire on the surveillance camera, and smiled. I picked up my bag, turned around, and said to my assistant, let's go to the hospital. Soon, Leo called me and said he wanted a divorce and wanted me to leave with nothing. I refused, so he filed for divorce in court. On the day of the trial, I appeared in the defendant's seat with my lawyer. Wendy and Leo appeared in the plaintiff's seat with smug looks on their faces. Leo stood there, his voice trembling slightly, but his eyes flashing with determination. Your Honor, I'm here today to file for divorce. Not only does she neglect our family, she's also been fooling around with other men. She's not a proper woman. He paused for a moment, raising his voice slightly, Jane is at fault and must leave with nothing. My face turned pale, and I retorted, you're talking nonsense. Leo looked at me with contempt, Jane, you really won't cry until you see the coffin. Your Honor, I have evidence. Watching Leo hand over the USB drive he had just bought from Zion before the trial began, I let a cold smile curve my lips. The large screen began to play. Wendy and Leo looked determined. In the video, Wendy and Leo are in a critical moment. The entire scene is unsightly, making people cry out that it hurts their eyes. Everyone in the courtroom is in an uproar, casting gossipy glances at the two of them standing on the sidelines. Wendy's face turned red, then white, then pale, and her body began to tremble. Her eyes were filled with panic. She screamed, turn it off, turn it off. Wendy's voice echoed in the courtroom, but the video continued to play. The judge banged the gavel, demanding order in the courtroom, ma'am, please be quiet. Leo's face turned pale, his lips trembled, and his eyes looked at me blankly. Jane, did you install surveillance cameras in the bedroom? I ignored him, stood up, faced the judge, and said firmly, Your Honor, I request an investigation into the behavior of Leo and Wendy. Not only did they commit adultery while married, but they also attempted to influence the court's impartial judgment through illegal means. High-definition, unedited videos were leaked, and Wendy broke down in tears, shaking Leo's arm. She illegally installed surveillance cameras. Sue her. Sue her. I heard the funniest joke, told in a cheerful tone. I installed surveillance cameras in my own house. Who can sue me? You should be the one in trouble. You cheated on my husband, and the surveillance footage captured everything clearly. Wendy only heard the first half of the sentence and screamed, "Your house? Isn't it Leo's house?" The color drained from her face in an instant, but she still managed to stand there, trembling uncontrollably. I pulled out a stack of receipts for the house and the car, smiling brightly. I paid for the house and the car in full. All the money I've earned over the years with Leo is mine. Wendy glanced at the invoices and collapsed on the floor. Leo went over to help her up and said, "Juan, none of this matters. We are truly in love. I can earn a few $1,000s a month at my new job, which is enough for us to have more children. We will be very happy. Before I met you, I thought I could just get by with Jane for the rest of my life. But then I met you, and I finally understood what true love is. You make me feel like a real man, and I will always treat you well." Leo's mother was also standing below, beaming with pride. "Wendy, my son is so outstanding. You are so lucky to marry into our family. Don't be so vain. Money isn't the most important thing. Just take good care of my son and grandson and look after them well." Wendy was stunned, her eyes blank. "But you clearly told me that the house, the car, the company, and the savings at home were all yours. Did you lie to me? Who are you really?" I chuckled and said, "What's his background? He's just a country bumpkin who flew out of the mountains. In such a remote and poor place, they managed to produce a college student. Wendy, you've really hit the jackpot." Leo raised his head. "Jane, you don't need to stir things up here. Juan and I are truly in love. Juan, don't worry, it's not that bad. I have other properties." Wendy's eyes lit up. "Where?" Leo stammered. "In the village, there are 3 mud houses, but it doesn't matter. Late at night, as long as there is love, anywhere is home." Wendy's dreams of marrying into a wealthy family were shattered. She almost vomited blood, stood up, slapped Leo across the face, and shouted, "Are you crazy? Who wants to date you? You're just a poor man pretending to be rich. I want to be a rich woman." Leo was stunned and covered his face with his hands. Seeing her son being hit, Leo's mother quickly climbed over the guardrail, rushed over, grabbed Wendy's hair, and beat her while shouting, "I let you in because you can cook and seem sensible. But now that you see my family isn't as wealthy as you thought, you're showing your true colors, aren't you? You're just a lowly maid, and you dare to be so picky?" Leo's mother, who was covered in fat, pinned Wendy down and beat her, not only slapping her face until it was swollen, but also tearing her shirt to shreds. When they were pulled apart, Wendy could only cover her underwear with her bruised face, exposing herself. The courtroom was in an uproar, and the judge looked at me hesitantly. "Jane, you and the plaintiff have a son. What about custody? And has never had any concept of money since she was born. Whatever he wanted to buy, I would buy it for him. He has never lived a day of hardship." He was led in by the staff, who asked him if he was with his father or mother, and said loudly, "I want to go with my dad." Wendy said she would buy me candy every day and I wouldn't have to go to kindergarten, and I could play video games at home every day. The judge hesitated. I quickly interjected, "All right, let him go with his father." After leaving the courthouse, Leo, who had been stripped of everything, knelt down and hugged my legs. "Wife, I was wrong. I was deceived by her. I was so angry that I said those things. Don't take them seriously. I love you. It's all Wendy's fault for stirring things up. That's why I thought you were really cheating on me." I glanced at him. "Leo, you've been putting up with a lot for me over the years, haven't you?" Seeing him clinging to my leg and refusing to let go, my assistant came over to pull him away. Leo's eyes turned red as he pushed the assistant aside and pointed at him, shouting, "It's you. You sold me fake medicine. Otherwise, how could the video not show Zion and Jane?" The assistant looked innocent. "I did it, but I'm Jane's assistant. How could I buy that medicine to harm her?" I snorted. Leo was such an idiot. "If you want to harm me, just do it yourself. How dare you ask my assistant to buy medicine for you? You must have your head and butt reversed." Bodyguards surrounded Leo and separated him from me, so he could only watch me from afar. I sat in the Rolls-Royce and waved at him, "Goodbye, Phoenix man. A country bumpkin should go back to the countryside." The car started and drove off, leaving a cloud of exhaust fumes in Leo's face. Wendy rushed over from somewhere, holding a knife, and stabbed Leo in the body. She looked like a madwoman. "Leo, pay me back. 50,000, that's 50,000. Wendy was crying and laughing, completely out of her mind, stabbing Leo repeatedly, 12 times in total. "You liar, you liar. That was money I borrowed by mortgaging my body. If I can't pay it back today, I'm finished." Later, I heard that Wendy had taken out a high-interest loan of 600,000 yuan. She did it to buy Leo's mother that gold bracelet and give Zion 500,000 yuan. Her dreams of a life of luxury were shattered, and she couldn't repay the money. Wendy went crazy on the spot, killed Leo, and was arrested immediately. I shook my head, feeling a bit complicated. I guess it was karma. And suddenly lost her father, and I refused to raise him, so he had no choice but to live with Leo's mother. The two of them were used to spending money freely. After all, I had always provided them with a comfortable life. Suddenly becoming poor was like going from heaven to hell for Anne. She couldn't afford expensive toys or clothes, and we couldn't even afford to send her to kindergarten. Leo's mother took Anne back to the village, where they raised pigs and farmed every day. And called me once, crying loudly, "Mom, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Can you come and take me back? I don't want to stay at Grandma's house anymore. I don't have enough to eat every day, and I have to wear old clothes. Before dawn, my grandmother makes me go cut grass for the pigs and mix their feed. Mom, I'm begging you, let me go home." I said in surprise, "Your mom's name is Wendy, right? Why is she calling me?" Anne's voice broke down as she pleaded, "Mom, you're my mom. I'm begging you, Mom." "Wha, I really know I was wrong." His words were cut off. The child in my arms was awakened by the noise, rubbed his eyes, and called me in a baby voice, "Mom, who are you talking to on the phone?" And said blankly, "Mom, do you have other children?" I held my child in my arms and kissed him repeatedly, speaking softly and coaxing him, "It's a prank call. He dialed the wrong number." Then I hung up without hesitation and added the number to my blacklist. Thinking about it made me feel sick, so I turned to my assistant and said, "Give me a new number." "Sure, Jane, I'll get right on it." I hugged my child and rocked him back and forth. "Do you love your mommy?" The child rubbed his head against my face and said in a childish voice, "I love you, Mom." So what if I took the wrong path and had the wrong child? From now on, my life will be smooth sailing.